The top story. Police in Honolulu in the U.S. state of Hawaii have insisted that the fatal shooting of a South African man has nothing to do with his race. 29-year-old Lindani Myeni, who hails from KwaZulu Natal, was shot in a peculiar confrontation with police after they responded to a 911 call of a burglary in progress. Myeni is survived by his wife and 2 children. Here's Honolulu Police Chief Susan Bal-lard.
Officers administered first aid at the scene, and the suspect was treated and transported to the hospital in critical condition. He died of his injuries at the hospital. The 3 responding officers were taken to the hospital for multiple injuries. The first officer to arrive has multiple facial fractures, a concussion, and injuries to his arms and legs. He remains hospitalized. He has 23 years of service. The second officer suffered multiple injuries to the body, arms, and legs. The third officer had a concussion in addition to multiple abrasions to the body, arm, and legs. They required medical treatment and have since been released.
All right, let's get the very latest on this story. I want to bring in SABC News foreign editor Sophie Mokoena for the latest. Sophie, a very good morning to you. What more are we learning with regards to the circumstances surrounding the shooting of this man?
The wife of the South African who was killed by police in Honolulu, as you have indicated, that her husband was a very humble and very peaceful man, and he really doesn't understand what happened because she believes that there is no way this guy could have provoked the police based on her experience as the wife in terms of his behavior. She also indicated that she is now in touch with the family in KwaZulu Natal, and she is worried because she will have to provide answers in terms of what led to this death. But we know that the police in the United States of America, when they approach black African men, they approach them with the intention to inflict harm because it looks like they believe that majority or black African men, when they are walking alone, they are suspect and also they are in a position to do something wrong. So I think the issue of how the police in the United States of America are handling black African men must be investigated. I think this matter must be taken to the Human Rights Commission of the United Nations because the whole week this week, we saw all those attacks and those people who were, some of them, the boy who was also killed. These are black African young men. And it looks like the mindset of the police in the United States of America, when they are approaching black young Africans, they go there with the suspicion that these can be criminals.
We are currently witnessing from outside of the U.S. as observers the case of Daunte Wright that has caused this uproar in terms of the community, the killing of Daunte Wright. You were talking about that, a teenager who was shot as well, the circumstances of which is still being investigated. But we're also in the midst of the Derek Chauvin murder trial, the murder of Floyd. These are cases and case upon cases that is coming to the fore. Talk to us from what we're hearing from our correspondents, the mood currently in the United States.
I think black African Americans right now, they are despondent. They were hopeful that when President Joe Biden takes over from Donald Trump, a situation will be different. But it looks like Joe Biden is still struggling to deal with these issues of racism in America. There is racism in America. You look at George Floyd's case, even this guy who's a doctor who studied in South Africa, who's a Zimbabwean, a white guy, the way he testified in that case, it clearly shows that there is a serious problem in terms of how Black African Americans are viewed in the United States of America. I think for me, it looks like it is a political statement when you look at it, but also a mindset, a political mindset that Black and Africans are barbaric or are criminals. We also sometimes see the same happening in our own country. Yeah. When the police approach Black young Africans, the approach is very different if they are suspicious of something. And this is the issue that I think the whole world must address. Whether being Black, you are not entitled to be treated with dignity and, fairly, or you move from a premise that a person is innocent before you can declare him guilty. That would, of course, be done by the court. So I think this is something that was fought by the forefathers of the Black African Americans who arrived in America as slaves, and I can say the fight continues. It is still the same problem.
Just with regards to the killing of Mr. Myeni, do we know if the South African consulate in the area is offering any consular services to the family?
We will get the details today. Our team in KZN, they are on their way to the family, and the family will share with us what they know thus far and perhaps how South Africa is assisting. But as we speak, we haven't received any media release from our offices in the United States of America, either the embassy in Washington or any representatives in that area, neither here in South Africa. But our team in KZN, they are going to the family and they will get more details. Sharon Bryce is also trying to speak to the wife of Mr. Myeni to get more information. But clearly, the question many people are asking is, where is the video that demonstrates all those allegations that the police have made, that he was fighting?
You're talking about the body cam footage?
Yes, body cam footage. Where is the body cam footage? Release the body cam footage as a matter of urgency so that people can see what happened. But if you don't do that as the police in the United States of America, people will be suspicious because these killings are just too many.
Yeah, that type of footage will form an integral part in terms of the investigation. Sophie, a busy news day internationally. Also on our watch, the funeral of His Royal Highness, the Duke of Edinburgh, is taking place. Prince Philip. It happens at 3 p.m. British time. What more are we learning in terms of preparation?
It's all systems go. The coffin will leave Windsor Castle at around 2:30 their time, 3:30 South African time, and then be taken to the chapel, and with only 30 people attending the funeral, majority being members of the royal family, but the relatives of the late Prince Philip will be there from Germany. We know they couldn't attend his wedding with the Queen in 1947 because it was after the Second World War. And because they came from Germany, there was suspicion that they may have been sympathetic to the Nazis. So they couldn't attend his wedding. But this time around, we are told that he did insist that when he passed on, his family must be present this time around, and they will be there. The other important issue is the arrival of Prince Harry from the United States of America on Sunday. He isolated himself in terms of compliance with the COVID-19, and now he will interact with the family. But in terms of the arrangement, there are sacrifices that they had to do. It was expected that the members of the royal family would be wearing the military fatigue or military uniform in terms of their different ranks and levels. But there was a compromise reached that they are not going to do that, because Prince Harry, when she left the United Kingdom, he handed over the responsibilities back to the Queen, and therefore he was not going to be able to wear the military uniform, and he was almost going to be an outcast, and therefore there was a compromise that they mustn't wear a military uniform to accommodate Prince Harry. And secondly, he would be walking behind the coffin with the rest of the royal family members, but this time around he is not going to walk shoulder to shoulder or side by side with his brother Prince William to try and manage that tension. Their cousin will be in between them, and even walking in, there will be enough space to ensure that there's no moment where people can pick up some tension. And indeed, all members of the royal family in the church, including the Queen, will be observing the COVID-19 regulations, wearing masks, social distance, and all of that.
That is such an important point that you pick up on, Sophie, in terms of the optics of this. Some of us will remember the Queen Mother's funeral, where they did use military uniforms. This time it's going to be civilian clothes, as you alluded to with regards to Prince Harry. Now, I just want to get back to what you just said towards the tail end of your comments there about the funeral procession. And Prince, actually Mr. Peter Phillips, who is the Princess Royal's son, will be slotted in between Harry and that of William. So you're going to have at the top Princess Anne and then Prince Charles. Then below that it's going to be the Earl of Wessex and then the Duke of York, which is Edward and Andrew. And then you have the grandchildren, Prince Harry as well as William, and slotted in is Peter Philip. Now, what do we know? Give us some context, Sophie. Remind our viewers about where this all stems from and the insight we got from that Oprah Winfrey interview. What did Prince Harry say in terms of his relationship with his brother?
He didn't say much, but in so many words, he indicated that there's tension. And the issue of racism in the royal family, it can be located perhaps from the senior royal family members or the junior royal family members. And you know that Meghan spoke about her relationship with Prince William's wife, and that tension and the questions she posed just a day before their wedding with Prince Harry. While she has denied all those allegations, but there should be substance in the whole issue or saga of the Harry and Meghan. And you know that some people are intolerant in terms of culture, norms, and beliefs. And Meghan coming into this institution, that was built under racism and colonial principles. It will take time for it to rid itself those tendencies. We know they are trying very hard to change. We saw when Lady Diana died, there was a bit of a change, and then the children coming to Africa, going to Lesotho, mingling with Basotho, visiting Botswana, visiting Kenya, trying to undo the damage. Even the Commonwealth and Organization of Commonwealth member countries, the Queen is trying to change the image of the Commonwealth. But, old habits, it's very difficult to deal with them quickly and remove all bad tendencies. Therefore, there will be those questions. Even, the sad thing, even the citizens in UK, some of them are so intolerant to Harry and Meghan. And you can imagine, this is a very difficult time for them. And I think that is why today the royal family took a decision that they will separate the two, because people were going to look at the body language, whether they are talking. We know their body language. when they were with their mother, Princess Diana, when their mother died, and later on in their youth years, how they used to behave, walking together, talking, smiling, always together. But that has changed, and people are looking at what will be the story in terms of the body language, and the royal family is trying to deal with that. And we even know that immediately after the funeral, he is immediately flying back to United States of America because he wants to be there with Meghan. We know that they are expecting a child, and therefore he wants to be there and to interact with his family.
Yeah, look, there's various elements to this story. No doubt we have a number of eyes on it. As we wrap up, Sophie, just remind our viewers about SABC News' coverage of this funeral.
Well, we will do dip in and out between 11 and 3 o'clock, but at 3 o'clock their time, which is 4 o'clock Central African time, we will go live to the ceremony, and Peter Ndoro will be there to take us through that whole funeral ceremony or funeral program, looking at the body language, unpacking what people are saying, and just the change, or it will not be business as usual after today within the royal family.
All right, no one better than to take us through than Peter Ndoro. Sophie Mokoena, as always, no doubt we will touch base with you a little later on as well. Sophie Mokoena is SABC's news foreign editor. All right, I want to